G. Risk, reputation, and oversight. Charlie and I believe that a CEO must not delegate risk control. It's simply too important. At Berkshire, for example, I both initiate and monitor every derivatives contract on our books, with the exception of operations-related contracts at a few of our subsidiaries, such as Mid-American, and the minor runoff contracts at General Re. If Berkshire ever gets in trouble, it will be my fault. It will not be because of misjudgments made by a risk committee or chief risk officer. In my view, a board of directors of a huge financial institution is derelict if it does not insist that its CEO bear full responsibility for risk control. If he's incapable of handling that job, he should look for other employment. And if he fails at it, with the government thereupon required to step in with funds or guarantees, the financial consequences for him and his board should be severe. It has not been shareholders who have botched the operations of some of our country's largest financial institutions, yet they have borne the burden, with 90% or more of the value of their holdings wiped out in most cases of failure. Collectively, they have lost more than $500 billion in just the 4 largest financial fiascos of the last 2 years. To say these owners have been bailed out is to make mockery of the term. The CEOs and directors of the failed companies, however, have largely gone unscathed. Their fortunes may have been diminished by the disasters they oversaw, but they still live in grand style. It is the behavior of these CEOs and directors that need to be changed. If their institutions and the country are harmed by their recklessness, they should pay a heavy price, one not reimbursable by the companies they've damaged, nor by insurance. CEOs and, in many cases, directors have long benefited from oversized financial carrots. Some meaningful sticks now need to be part of their employment picture as well. The 2010 annual report included the following, dated July 26, 2010, to Berkshire's managers. This is my biennial letter to re-emphasize Berkshire's top priority, which is that all of us continue to zealously guard Berkshire's reputation. We can't be perfect, but we can try to be. As I've said in these memos for more than 25 years, we can afford to lose money, even a lot of money, but we can't afford to lose reputation, even a shred of reputation. We must continue to measure every act against not only what is legal, but also what we would be happy to have written about on the front page of a national newspaper in an article written by an unfriendly but intelligent reporter. Sometimes your associates will say, everybody else is doing it. This rationale is almost always a bad one if it is the main justification for a business decision. It is totally unacceptable when evaluating a moral decision. Whenever somebody offers that phase as a rationale, in effect, they are saying that they can't come up with a good reason. If anyone gives this explanation, tell them to try using it with a reporter or a judge, and see how far it gets them. If you see anything whose propriety or legality causes you to hesitate, be sure to give me a call. However, it's very likely that if a given course of action evokes such hesitation, it's too close to the line and should be abandoned. There's plenty of money to be made in the center of the court. If it's questionable whether some action is close to the line, just assume it is outside and forget it. As a corollary, let me know promptly if there's any significant bad news. I can handle bad news, but I don't like to deal with it after it has festered for a while. Our reluctance to face up immediately to bad news is what turned a problem at Solomon from one that could have easily been disposed of into one that almost caused the demise of a firm with 8,000 employees. Somebody is doing something today at Berkshire that you and I would be unhappy about if we knew of it. That's inevitable. We now employ more than 250,000 people, and the chances of that number getting through the day without any bad behavior occurring is nil. But we can have a huge effect in minimizing such activities by jumping on anything immediately when there is the slightest odor of impropriety. Your attitude on such matters, expressed by behavior as well as words, will be the most important factor in how the culture of your business develops. Culture, more than rule books, determines how an organization behaves. In other respects, Talk to me about what is going on as little or as much as you wish. Each of you does a first-class job of running your operation with your own individual style, and you don't need me to help. The only items you need to be clear with me are any changes in post-retirement benefits and any unusually large capital expenditures or acquisitions. Auditing committees can't audit. Only a company's outside auditor can determine whether the earnings that a management purports to have made are suspect. Reforms that ignore this reality and that instead focus on the structure and charter of the audit committee will accomplish little. The key objective of the audit committee is simply to get the auditors to divulge what they know. To do this job, the committee must make sure that the auditors worry more about misleading its members than about offending management. In recent years, auditors have not felt that way. They have instead generally viewed the CEO, rather than the shareholders or directors, as their client. That has been a natural result of day-to-day working relationships and also of the auditors understanding that, no matter what the book says, the CEO and CFO pay their fees and determine whether they are retained for both auditing and for other work. Rules in 2002 Sarbanes-Oxley Act requiring board audit committees to oversee auditors and set their pay won't materially change this reality. What will break this cozy relationship is audit committees unequivocally putting auditors on the spot, making them understand they will become liable for major monetary penalties if they don't come forth with what they know or suspect. In my opinion, audit committees can accomplish this goal by asking 4 questions of auditors, the answers to which should be recorded and reported to shareholders. These questions are: 1. If the auditor were solely responsible for preparation of the company's financial statements, would they have in any way been prepared differently from the manner selected by management? This question should cover both material and non-material differences. If the auditor would have done something differently, both management's argument and the auditor's response should be disclosed. The audit committee should then evaluate the facts. 2. If the auditor were an investor, would he have received, in plain English, the information essential to his understanding the company's financial performance during the reporting period? 3. Is the company following the same internal audit procedure that would be followed if the auditor himself were CEO? If not, what are the differences and why? 4. Is the auditor aware of any actions, either accounting or operational, that have had the purpose and effect of moving revenues or expenses from one reporting period to another? If the audit committee asks these questions, its composition, the focus of most reforms, is of minor importance. In addition, the procedure will save time and expense. When auditors are put on the spot, they will do their duty. If they are not put on the spot, well, we have seen the results of that. The primary advantage of our 4 questions is that they will act as a prophylactic. Once the auditors know that the audit committee will require them to affirmatively endorse, rather than merely acquiesce to, management's actions, they will resist misdoings early in the process, well before specious figures become embedded in the company's books. Fear of the plaintiff's bar? We'll see to that.